finally got a chance to get out of the house. It's been good. Things have been very busy. Haven't really had much time for gaming related activities, but it looks like I will be able to do some more Deadlands this weekend, playing on Roll20, of course. But it's so beautiful out, and it's the time of year where I need to take the opportunity to get out and travel because I can, because it's nice. So that's what I'm doing. I'm on another excursion. I am headed to a mine. Yes, there's a mine in Nebraska. I don't think it's probably what you're thinking it's like, but you'll see. You'll see what it looks like here in a moment. The place just absolutely oozes an adventure for tabletop role-playing games. Even like for something like Dungeons and Dragons, it would be perfect. So I've seen things where people will go and they will hold their session in a cave somewhere for the ambiance, and I think it would be a cool place to do that. I'll have to see if this place is open year-round. It does say that it has a temperature, sort of a constant temperature of like 50-some degrees, so I don't know if sitting there would be all that comfortable. I think maybe I would get cold, but I don't know. We'll see when we get there.
This up above, this is all limestone. Where that white line is, that's where the water level was years and years ago.
Okay.
So the miners that come in, they'd go from that white line on down, that was chalk, that's what they mined out.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
All through the mine, there were little bitty holes, they're called diatoms, little ocean creatures. Of course, when the water went down, they died and left little holes in there, but that's what also helped build the chalk back in here.
Okay.
All these burrows that look so wet, that's dry to the touch, those were all from animals that were here. And we've got a bat right up above you.
Oh.
If you want to take a picture of it.
Oh, yeah.
Right there. Kids did a number on us and painted up the walls.
Oh, man.
That's what's going right into the chalk. We can't brush it off, it'll have to be chipped off. But they were pretty good artists of the stuff. Right there is that white water line that goes through the whole mine. And that dirt there they got from the parking lot. That's how they blocked the entrances shut. That's when they was remodeling.
Okay.
This next one is how they used to mine it. They had 2 wheelbarrows, we got one of them. All they wanted was like the chunks, that's what's inside here. That's what they took to that corn crib to dry because get the moisture out of it, otherwise it'd crumble.
Oh, okay.
And up above, you can see how they blocked that entrance shut. You can see the tree roots.
Yeah.
Through.
Uh-huh.
They used that long brace and bit. They'd drill a hole in the chalk, piece of catalog paper and a black powder and a fuse, light it, and they'd go around the corner, it'd blow with it, and they couldn't do anything till the next day on account of dust.
Oh,
And
wow.
anything that fell through that fork they left late, they didn't want anything smaller. But they mined it from 1920 to 1946. They got $1.75 a day, and then they had to split it 3 ways.
Okay.
Didn't make much money. This whole bridge, they told the kids is going out of the shaft like 50, 60 feet.
Oh.
They had floor jacks underneath there. You get the kids on that platform. So dark in here to let the jacks down, it made you feel like you went way down, but you didn't. They got their Halloween stuff back there.
That's awesome.
This one over here is a ballroom. This has got a lot of history. Back then, of course, they didn't have electricity. They had 2 entrances in here. They'd drive their cars partway in here with their headlights on. They had picnic tables and they had bands.
Oh,
They
okay.
played music in here. That's why they call it the ballroom.
Just hanging out.
Back in the 60s, they had motorcycle races in here.
Okay, yeah, I've heard of that.
They'd go clear back to where the light is, and come back on time trials one bike at a time. But the dust of the gas fumes would have been terrible in here.
Yeah, yeah.
We got some guys' names that were in it. Some of them rode their horses in here.
Oh, jeez.
Made wheelbarrow and that Model A.
Yeah.
And on this side, those geologists told us these were giant earthworms. And they were all white. I've never seen them, but it's just what they're telling us about them. Usually if it gets real foggy and it'll rain,
Yeah?
like an old cellar. Here we got Carrie and Mandy a bit in here.
Have you figured out who they are?
Oh,
okay.
The last name's just a
Well, I hope they stayed together.
yeah. This next over here is kind of interesting. The geologist told us this real white in the ceiling over here is the starting of opals, the jewels.
Wow, okay.
They said it takes 100 years for them to form. But this white right in here is supposed to be the starting of opals. But it takes a lot of humidity, which takes a lot down here. And clear back there, you can see where it isn't all cleaned out. Writing on the walls there, they had to be chipped off. This pillar over here, got the name Becky and this other name on it.
Mm-hmm.
Look back up where there's no supports.
Huh.
All it's holding is that pillar. Those kids went clear back to the road on the walls. Something would drop back there, they'd never get them out.
Yeah.
Play back in there. That 42, I don't know, is a football jersey or year, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
hard to tell on that. Listen here, we're getting close to the front. So when we first come in, this is it. You see clear back in there.
Oh, yeah. Okay, since we have a really great 360 view, I'm going to go ahead and give you one here on video. So there's the river, there's where the sign for the chalk mine is. I am looking south currently. Have to believe that's somebody's pasture for cattle. So there's north. There's the river. The river is the neat part, if I do say so myself. So of course there's a bench up here for you to sit at. Okay, gather around everybody, it's story time. I'm going to tell you the story that I've heard here about Happy Jack, and there won't be any embellishment. It'll be 100% accurate. So here we go. So, I am on top of Happy Jack Peak, which is a very high point. Now, directly below me is where the mine is, the chalk mine. So I can show you, when I was in the mine below, he showed me where the highest point was, and it is marked here. So I was standing directly below that. So we can see the highway going by. Now, the story is that Happy Jack was a fur trap guy, and he built a dugout, kind of a sod house, dugout house over there. He lived there with his wife, and he trapped here along the Loup River. And I'm standing on top of the highest hill. That next hill right over there where I was just at, that was where his house was. But every morning, he would get up and he would climb over to this hill because it had such a good vantage point. And what he would do was to stop and make sure that the local Indians were not stealing from his trash. Now, from what I understand, he got his name Happy Jack from the Indians because one of his habits was that he would pound his chest, kind of like a gorilla. And he would do this when he was happy. And that's why the Indians called him Happy. Okay, I'm gonna go down to that kind of ledge there. Check it out. Oh man, there's no breeze back here. There we go. That's much better. I am driving away from the Happy Jack chalk mine, and I've had a few moments to get cooled down, catch my breath, and collect my wits. And I'm trying to think about the ways in which I can use what I've discovered here for a role-playing game adventure. So, I guess the first thing that stuck out in my mind was the phenomenon that the tour guide was showing me. A lot of the times it was always a jellyfish, but he would find other creatures. They were impressions in the sedimentary rock. They were fossils. So what would happen was that something would fall into the water and it would sink down into the sediment and kind of be trapped there and fossilized. And then, given the nature of the rock that surrounded it, the bones would slowly dissolve away, and it would leave this pocket in the shape of whatever it was that died there and became fossilized. So there was one point where he showed me something that he thought maybe was a coyote. I don't know if that would be, if they would even have coyotes around at that time period, but it did look like something, you know, roughly dog-like, but looks like I hit a bump, so jump cut. Anyway, so my imagination was sparked by the idea of the fossils still being there, and then when the miners come in later and we're mining it out, you know, they would hit a pocket. There's nothing in it, but it would be in the shape of something. And my mind just keeps thinking that maybe these miners actually find a big pocket of something that was killed way back in time, and then maybe became some sort of shadow creature. And when the miners came through, they chopped him out, and the mining, you know, the creature was released. I don't know, something along those lines, of course. Now, this leads to my second problem, and I'm going to run into this a lot, I think. But that is the period, the time period of these places and events and things that I find. They're a little too late to be in the Wild West. So, in this instance, they really didn't start mining it. So the mines, the twisting, turning tunnels, weren't there until the 20s, 30s when they were mining out the place. Now, do you just sort of hand wave it and make sure that, or just make it so that this was happening in the Wild West? Well, obviously, the other element there that I was interested in was Happy Jack himself. Now, again, time period, he was probably not quite Wild Westy. He was probably a little bit before that. If he was a miner and a trapper and there were a lot of Indians around, I don't think this probably would have been before a large amount of white people came into the area and started settling it and civilizing it. So, making him a character is a little bit problematic as far as historicalness goes. And the camera is sliding around again. But I definitely like the idea of the Happy Jack Peak and the mine being an adventure site, and perhaps having the old dugout still there, occupied by somebody or something. Now, as it was explained to me, Happy Jack, trapped there for a long time and then moved on to a better spot. So I'm not real sure whether or not he would be a significant character. Looks like I need to go online and learn how to reshape hats. So anyway, I'm back here at home base, and I don't have a lot of time to talk today. So those of you that are big fans of me just sitting here talking, I guess you're going to have a bad time. But don't worry, there's plenty of other good content on this episode. So I have not gotten very far on getting my adventure, That Poor Girl, published. I need to redo the art, and I need to convert the enemies, the statistics for the enemies in the document for the D20 system, so that it's all nice and legal and I can use it that way. So I'll let you know when I get it up there, but it's not going to happen this week. So I recently went on a trip across the state with my wife. I took the camera along, but I did not really find much in the way of Weird West inspiration. I found some buffalo. Got some pretty good video footage of that. I don't know how I'm going to use it, but we are going to play Deadlands again tonight on Roll20. I'm going to run an adventure called Snakebit, which I enjoy, and hopefully some of my players are afraid of snakes, because there's going to be some snakes. But I'll let you know how it turns out. Hopefully we can get some footage recorded of that tonight. So I guess that's all I got this episode. So we did get one contribution from last episode's Flesh Out the Figure. I'll go ahead and read it for you. It is from Even Steven again. Ordinary is just that, ordinary. He spends his days trying to stand out, but his traditional features and lack of personality won't free him from his personal ordinary hell. So he will keep slinging his gun around while folks continue to not notice him. Even the hardened Granny Show pays him no attention. One day, he tells himself, one day I'll be someone. People will notice me. As he slides off to the local brothel to again proclaim his ordinariness. And I thought I would add this just to reinforce his ordinariness. Bum, bum, bum. Well, maybe I'll turn it around so you can see. It's the same miniature. So yeah, let's put it this way. He was cranked out. It is time for this episode's Flesh Out the Figure. This miniature is manufactured by a company called Gangfight Game Studios, and it is for their miniature war game called Blackwater Gulch, which is obviously a Western-themed skirmish game. He is from the Los Banditos Mexicanos starter set. They have a name and character for him already, Esteban El Cutador Cruz. But don't listen to that. You need to come up with your own. So please contribute and put it in the comments below if you have an idea of what you would rather this character be named.